John Jones can't keep Israel Adesanya's name out of his mouth. And I just wonder why. Is John jealous of Adesanya? So let me give you a quick rundown of the timeline. Okay, Adesanya out of nowhere starts talking about John Jones. He's going to come 205, fight John Jones. John quickly responds. And it was a little bit weird. I don't blame John for this. I mean, look, when you're the champion or you're just a regular guy and somebody calls you out, for you to defend your mountaintop and say, yeah, come on, let's do it. I don't blame John for that. I don't know that there was a right answer by John. I don't think going quiet and acting like it didn't happen was the right answer, though seemingly that would have been better than what John did do. But I don't know that John was wrong. The problem that John had is he's going after Adesanya. He's got a fight with Dominic Reyes. And then he chooses to disclose that he tried to fight Stipe and was swatted down. So from a power standpoint, that was very bad of John. If you try to do something behind closed doors and it doesn't go the way you want, zip your lip, throw away the key. John didn't do that. So he starts a story on Stipe that nobody can get behind. It can't go anywhere because John's told us the conclusion of that story, which is a great big red stamp comes down and it gets thrown in the trash bin. Meanwhile, he's got the fight with Reyes, who he's having a hard time gaining interest in for whatever reason. Some fights just go that way. Okay. I would encourage him to find a narrative and a dialogue and something interesting about the fight that he does have, but then he can't quit talking about Adesanya. Now, Adesanya is a guy, and I keep encouraging you guys to study him. I think you guys sit back and watch him and enjoy it. I think you listen to him and you take in the entertainment factor, and then you hope to hear another Adesanya interview. Don't blame you. Very common. I would encourage you yet again, study him. Why is he saying the things that he says? Why is he doing the things that he do? He is playing chess. Adesanya understands this business to the highest of levels, and he might be a new guy with a unique skill set. If you think he isn't a veteran, and even if that career started as a fan, as a child, or through the kickboxing and boxing ranks or the MMA, he's been around a long time. He has studied. He sits down and plans. Here's Adesanya's latest chess move. Adesanya started talking about John Jones, and it got to the point where people like Daniel Cormier were even weighing in and going, hey, listen, I won't say Adesanya's not better, and I won't say Adesanya doesn't have the skills. I will tell you I am concerned with his size. He's just not a very big guy. He looks big on TV. He's tall. He's not a very big guy. That's true. That's very fair. Adesanya doesn't cut to make the weight class. He fights at 185. He just weighs 185. He's weighed in as low as 183 after training, a night's sleep and getting up and going on the scale. I mean, it's not a problem for Adesanya to make 185. Adesanya wanted John Jones so bad he went on a media tour lying about his weight and claiming that he was currently 204 pounds. He gets credit for me for that. Now, even if I know it's a lie, I don't mind. He's trying to get a fight with John Jones so bad that he will lie about what he weighs, taking a disadvantage and a chip on his own chin just to go out there and get the contest. Now, stay with me here. Adesanya has now come out today and said, people will only remember John Jones as a steroid cheat. People will remember my walkouts more than they remember John Jones's entire career. I'm going to fight John Jones, and I don't care if he's the champion or not. I'm going to fight John Jones. But put a pin in this because I'm not going to revisit the John Jones narrative until 2021. Give me a year. Year goes by real fast, but he sets a timeline. Give me a year. Now, a lot of things happened there. Not only was that a mean and nasty and compelling and entertaining statement, but Adesanya has now taken the power position of putting John Jones in the waiting room. Adesanya took the power position of setting a time frame in the future of a fight that doesn't exist, never has been offered. Okay? This was brilliant for many reasons. I mean, guys, think about being in the waiting room. You don't go wait in the waiting room at the doctor's office because the doctor needs you. You sit in the waiting room like a fool with your cell phone off because you need the doctor. Adesanya has now put Jon Jones in the waiting room, but he also, I like the statement here because he said, I don't care if Dominic Reyes beats Jones or not. I don't then go after Dominic Reyes. I'm not coming after the 205-pound title. I'm coming after Jon Jones. Now, that's a very courageous, to the point of almost scary, impressive statement. But it's easy to make statements. Anybody can say anything, right? Well, no, Adesanya has credibility behind that because he's doing it right now. He just went after Yoel Romero, who's coming off a loss and on paper is the worst possible matchup I can think of for him. The worst possible matchup for a striker in MMA is a world-class wrestler. I mean, that's just the history of the sport dating back to 1993. We've seen this story told time and time again, and generally, and by generally, I'm talking 90-some% of the time, it goes to the wrestler. Adesanya says, I don't care. My two interim titles have nothing to do with this, and I'm not afraid to risk them. I want him. It was so impressive and so courageous of a statement and so far out from what most champions do of trying to protect everything and just cling on to it that Dana White goes, okay. Dana White openly said, hey, Dana, why are you making this fight? Because I respect it. I respect Israel Adesanya's desires and reasoning for Yoel Romero. Yeah, but Yoel just lost. I respect Israel Adesanya's reasons for wanting the fight. Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm in. But when you know that a guy is now this level of competitor, the level of competitor that we now know for sure, not talk, backed up with action, signed contracts that Israel Adesanya is, when he comes out and makes a dark, frightening, eye-opening, jaw-dropping statement that I'm coming after Jon Jones and titles have nothing to do with it, you know it's true. It's a power statement to the highest of levels, and it's also one that Jon could not match. I don't fault Jon for this, by the way. If anybody sees, Chael's been a little critical of Jon Jones, and Chael likes to be critical of Jon Jones. Jon's in a tough spot. I don't fault Jon Jones for this. I mean, think about it. This is unheard of territory. What Adesanya is doing, it's unheard of. Put yourself in Jon's shoes. You're the champion of the world. Not only are you the champion of the world, you're the greatest light heavyweight to ever exist. You might be the greatest fighter to ever exist. For you to only want to fight and to demand that you only fight in world title fights is very reasonable. In fact, to expect that the sitting world champion, the greatest the division has ever seen, and possibly the greatest sports it ever seen, would fight anything less than a world championship is unreasonable. So for Jon to demand that a belt is on the line, whether he goes up, down, or stays where he's at, is reasonable. What Adesanya is proposing is unreasonable. The champion of middleweight, Adesanya, is going to leave the weight and take on Jon Jones. Oh, and by the way, no titles on the line. I'm the best, you're the best. You got a lane, I got a lane. We're going to crash cars together and one guy's going to come out on top. That's unreasonable. That's irresponsible. It's irrational. It's also impossible to say that's not an amazing twist in the story favoring Adesanya. It breaks every rule of every story the sport's ever had, which is why it catches Jon with his pants down, and it's why Jon is now in the less powerful position and he's in the waiting room. I'm in Jon's spot. I'm stuck. Izzy just stuck me. Checkmate. Here's the other thing with Jon. It's very tough to point your cannon in a whole bunch of directions, right? I mean, stories have a beginning, middle, and an end. Fight promotion. Now, if you want to know about fighting, go talk to Jon Jones. You want to know how to have people interested in a fight, come talk to me. So if Jon and I could somehow align these two ideas, we would have a very perfect athlete. In many ways, I feel that that's exactly what's happened with Adesanya. You take some of the ideas that old Chael had, you take the skills that Adesanya has, you put them together, I mean, boom. Here's the deal, though. When you're telling a story, you must remember the 5 W's: who, what, when, where, and why. And all that promotion is storytelling. You come out and tell a story. Some stories are really good stories. Boom, that's what's called a big fight. Some stories, I mean, you guys have told them in living rooms, you think you got a great one, you lay it out there, and your friends are kind of looking at you like, hey, can you wrap this thing up? That one bombed. Yeah, okay, great. They're not all home runs. But you still have to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. You must have a plot, you must have a conclusion, you must have the 5 W's of who, what, when, why, and where. So when you're Jon Jones and you're attempting to tell a story, but you're spreading it all over the place, hey, Jon, you got a fight coming up in Dallas with Dominic Reyes. Why should I care? Well, you should know something about me, which is I tried to fight Stipe Miocic. Whoa. The hell's that got to do with anything, particularly when you then tell me the conclusion of that story? If you left that open-ended, I could see why you would drop that egg before you walk out of the room. I'd have no problem with it. When you tell me how that story ended, which is that your idea was ripped up and thrown in the trash can, there's nowhere for me to go. There's no tentacles to this that I can then cling on to. See where it gets a little bit tough? So unless you have a who, what, when, why, and where, unless you have a beginning, middle, and an end, you don't have a story. If you don't have a story, you can't tell a story. If you can't tell a story, you can't promote a fight. If you can't promote a fight, look, you're stuck fighting in front of a lot of people that are dressed up as empty chairs. That's the problem. Other side of the coin, look, whatever makes Jon Jones tick, whatever gets under his skin and works him up and makes him want to get up in the morning and push forward, he's doing it right. So yeah, I got a lot of corrections that I could give to Jon Jones' storytelling ability. Jon Jones could slide into this studio and give me plenty of corrections in terms of the X and O's of a fight. I mean, I think there's room for both. But I think if you were to look at what happened, and it's a fight through the media, and it's fight for fans, and you're trying to pull Jones's fans away, you're trying to pull moderates away, Jones is trying to grab Izzy's fans and pull them up to his side. When you're fighting in this nature, and you're fighting for clicks and headlines and for who has a more compelling story, the fact that Adesanya, without ever throwing a punch, just stuck Jon Jones in the waiting room while he remains the doctor, that's a win for Adesanya.